Hello and welcome to my world. Due to the passing of my mom back on January 26, 2023, I went ahead and made public the videos that were scheduled for this week. The Capcom fighting game tier list and the second of the VHS uh, discovery in terms of boxes and stuff that I found in another part of what is now a very, very lonely home. um, some Now those who watched or were part of my stream on January 27th know that I went through two boxes live on that stream regarding a bunch of tapes. But for the sake of the series here on the YouTube channel, uh, there will be videos corresponding to that, and that's what we're doing here today. We got one box here. Those who were part of the Twitch stream back on the 27th already know what's in here, but those of you who weren't there, well, now is your chance to see what you missed out on. And I got the other big box down here too, and there's still more boxes upstairs, so we'll go through it. So this box contains, first and foremost, Angels in the Outfield, Danny Glover, Christopher Lloyd, Tony Danza. Your typical Disney's movie using the Angels to help the then California Angels win baseball games, so that young Roger can reunite with his father, who set the stipulation if the Angels win the pennant. In terms of it being a realistic baseball movie, as it goes along, and the involvement of the Angels, the spiritual Angels, are less involved. There are some fairly realistic things that happen during the course of it. The only thing that's really down about this movie is Tony Danza's pitching motion. It's just awful. If you've seen I saw Major League with Charlie Sheen and Tom Berenger long before I seen Angels in the Outfield as a kid. So it's like, it always bothered me that Tony Danza had a worse pitching motion than Charlie Sheen. So it's just, there you go. So in here's first of several Adams Family movies, and this is Adams Family Reunion that has Tim Curry playing Gomez Adams, and Daryl Hannah playing Morticia. I've only seen this once, and I remember it being pretty good. I think there's a lot of unfair criticism towards Tim Curry's performance in this, because he is essentially the man who played, for a lot of folks who had to live up to the performance of Raul Julia in the early '90s Addams Family's films. But I thought Tim Curry did a pretty bang up job on it, and can't really fault him. It was like, when you're trying to find someone to replace Raul Julia after what he did with the character, it's like it's a tough call. Not for this was kind of like a direct-to-video, made-for-TV movie. I think this aired on what was Fox Family, or the Family Channel. What the Family Channel became Fox Family in like the late '90s. So this is where I saw it on TV first before the tape even came out. So I just realized Saban. I just realized the Saban logo on this, and Saban Entertainment, is associated with Power Rangers and stuff in the '90s, the Ninja Turtles, Next Mutation TV series, and a lot of things. So maybe that has something to do with it. This is This was a video. What's marked on it is the 35th Infantry Division history. So, my father, uh, in the again mid to late 90s, did a lot of history research regarding the those who served in World War II that came from South Jersey, at Camden in particular. He also did a lot of research into the unit that my grandfather Leon served in, and so this tape was part of his research process, things of that nature. This tape here, another again talking about my father. This tape actually is a big family reunion. My dad's magnum opus, as my uncle Mark put it, was doing a family tree. He focused primarily, mostly on his father's side of it, tracing a lot of family back, and it was a huge reunion. I remember playing wiffle ball in the backyard of my grandparents' house over in Cherry Hill, and so there was lot of, that was a really big day, and for my dad, it was like a really really proud moment there. So, getting back to the Adams family, we and going back to Raul Julia, the first of the two Adams family films, obviously a classic and everything, and the twisted thing is it of is it Fester or is it not Fester? Is certain was certainly interesting. Raul Julia as Gomez was, of course, fantastic. Funny thing about this particular tape here is that it was purchased at McDonald's. Yeah, for those who are too young to remember, it's like there were some films and stuff like that, special promotion tie-ins where you could only buy them for a time at at McDonald's or Burger King. It was kind of weird. You had these collector's glasses, collector baseballs, video cassettes, and so the '90s in and of itself was, especially the early '90s, was like a wild west in terms of you want to go to certain places, even if you don't like the food there. You wanted to get like the items that were exclusive there, and so this one was uh purchased. This tape was purchased at McDonald's. So, there you go. Next up, we had Adam's Family Values. I remember seeing this in theaters with my father, and as I got older, I don't think it's as good as the first film. But as a kid, I would say this: I had a crush on a number of various actresses as a kid as I was growing up, and Christina Ricci was one of them, and this mostly because of how she portrayed Wednesday Adams. I want to say I had more of a crush on the character of Wednesday Adams as a kid. This came out in '93, and '93 was like a year where I really started like understanding a lot of things, and I always found it how Wednesday Adams was in this, and it was just awesome. The entire Camp Chippewa scenario basically is what makes this movie really memorable. The A plot with Fester and Debbie, I didn't particularly care for then, and I don't now. But still, still, it's a good movie, just not as good as the first one. It's also going on the Adams Family. We got a tape with with the classic Adams Family, the one that first aired on television back in the '60s. It was Carolyn Jones playing Morticia and John Astin, I believe, playing Gomez, and of course, this is the version of the Adams Family that's kind of closest to the original comic strip to a large degree, and it is this version of the Adams Family that led to two animated series, one in the late 60s, early 70s that crossed over with Scooby Doo, and then one in the early 90s, while the one in the 90s was a result of the two films with Raul Julia. Well, the first film was Raul Julia. It's close. The animated series that aired on ABC Saturday mornings was much closer to this series than it was the films. John Astin actually appeared as Grandpa Adams in the new Addams Family series in the late 90s, early 2000s. So there you go. John Astin firmly locked in playing Gomez. It's like it's an iconic role there. This tape has 3 episodes: New Neighbors, Meet the Addams Family, Morticia the Matchmaker, and Green Eyed Gomez. So, and I believe the classic series is available to watch on Amazon Prime. I'm not 100% sure, but I do remember. I think it was last year or the year before. I was watching the series online somewhere, and I think it was on Amazon. But again, I'm not 100% sure on that. What we have here is we have a good old fashioned dry type video head cleaner. So that's that. We have a quick start video for something or other. I don't know what. Diamond Multimedia Systems. I'm guessing. If I was guessing, I would assume this is something associated with like a sound system or something my dad had. And like, this is granted in 1994. Probably when he bought this house. I don't remember if he had a particular sound system or something hooked up to the TV at the time. Tape was not the case, but this is Disney's Mulan, one of several Disney films that I saw in theaters in the 90s. Matter of fact, my father took me to see Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin, and my grandmother Zena, took me to see Lion King, Pocahontas, and Mulan. And Mulan itself is how factory accurate it is, it's neither here nor there. I still think it holds up as a movie. It's a particularly good movie, and it was the last Disney movie I saw in theaters with my grandma. So I have for me, it's kind of special that way. Now I remember seeing the series on television, and we got a tape for Biker Mice from Mars with 2 episodes. We Don't Need No Stinking City and Test of Friendship. And I honestly don't remember this tape ever being in our collection of tapes back in the 90s, but I remember the series fairly well. It's one of the Biker Mice from Mars was kind of one of those series that kind of had like that bunch of companies were looking to find the next Ninja Turtles type series. There was the Biker Mice from Mars, Street Sharks, and a couple of others were tried out. I do remember seeing this Biker Mice from Mars in syndication, and I think the channel that was airing it was WPHL 17 prior to it becoming a WB affiliate. So I don't recall it airing on Fox. Biker Mice from Mars didn't air on my local Fox station, and I don't associate it with WPSG Channel 57, which became the UPN affiliate. So by process of elimination, there you go. And it was also not airing on the WGTW Channel 48. So by process of elimination, and Biker Mice from Mars did not air on ABC's, NBC, or CBS Saturday mornings. I know that for a fact. We have Alien Nation, and I know we have two copies of this. The other copy is mint condition, never been opened. I want to say this was a made for TV movie pilot, and I may have only watched this once that I can vaguely recall. But this was released on the CBS Fox Video label, which I have copies. I know I have copies of Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back on, and the French Connection 2, as we discovered a week or two ago, was also home video release was also on with this label as well. I don't recall ever actually seen. I've only want to seen this once, but nothing really sticks out beyond that. That's the a trio films that damn near typecast Sigourney Weaver, at least early on. We got Alien on VHS, which of course is classic. The suspense horror, one alien on a ship taking people out one by one by one. It's a classic horror film. It's a classic sci-fi film. In space, no one can hear you scream. It was a film that basically, well, in terms of, could have easily made Sigourney Weaver a action star. And again, it did typecast her for like serious roles, and it's like most people didn't think she could do comedy show when she showed what she can do in Ghostbusters opposite Bill Murray. That kind of, at least that's the way I've always heard it and read it, is like that's how a lot of Sigourney Miss Weaver's later success in a variety of films kind of like, okay, this got her noticed, but Ghostbusters made her more. It gave her more opportunities, and so. But my favorite of the Aliens films is actually Aliens. Of course, there's action. Had the classic line is "It's game over, man. It's game over." And it's like, "Get away from her, you bitch!" The big mech suit, the big power loader thing that Ripley gets into towards the end versus the Alien Queen is just like the overall badassness of it, and really good in terms of just an action sci-fi film. But this, while Aliens more suspense horror in terms of sci-fi, Aliens is definitely more on the actiony side of the spectrum. And lastly, in here we have Aliens 3, Alien 3, which I'm not sure now. I think now it probably is looked a little bit more fondly as they try to close out the series, having Ripley die in the end. But the problem was, I think it came out too late. It was like there was like a large. I don't know why. It felt like it came out far too late in comparison to the second film. It came out in '92. Aliens came out in '86. So '79 to '86. Okay, I guess it's like enough time passed. I guess looking at it based on release dates, but I think also you kind of might maybe have to maybe think along the lines of um you killed off the characters. Like Newt was basically killed in the crash, the Lance Ripley on this prison colony, and it certainly was more of like a return to form to be more closer to the tone of the first film than anything else, because you only really had one alien running around and then everything else happening. Like the prisoners and stuff don't have any weapons or anything to defend themselves with, so they kind of have to. It's more of a desperate situation, so it's closer in tone to the first film, but not as good. And they could have done. They could have done more with it. It's like, cause the first one was on a spaceship, the second one was on a colony, and this one they kind of like try to find like a in between there in a prison planet. Kind of is what it is there. Um, what would I would have done with Alien 3? No, probably what should have been done, and is maybe if Ripley and them were picked up and it wasn't oh, maybe space pirates and that sort of thing. It kind of like you have these convicts and villains and anything to contend with. And it's like probably find that happy medium between the first two films. It's food for thought. Because they did try that. Now that I think about it, they did try that with Alien. What was it? Resurrection, the fourth film, the one with Winona Ryder, and I don't think we ever had that on VHS, as far as I know. But there you go. Because that fourth one had like what, like scavengers or something, like a bit of a rogues gallery of characters in it. I'm just spitballing here. Anyway, that would do it for this particular going through a box of VHS tapes. Leave your comments, thoughts, and stuff in the script in the comment section below. I would say like and subscribe, but honestly, does anyone actually do that? I know I don't, but still. Uh, we'll talk to you next time, folks. Y'all have a good one. See ya in the next video.